Full surprise. If I can compliment, then okay, but if not,
I know you sing. I didn't know about the guitar.
We'll see. I'm not going to get to the run here. Why not? That's the guitar.
But I didn't drink it since I was drinking.
Can you come here for a second?
This is our second come out.
Trying to figure out the live thing.
Yeah. Maybe that's our second.
Davi, can you phone on you or no? Can you come here a second?
Yes.
Go back up. Like
What? No, it's actually better now.
So Millie's not here. She posted it.
I know. I'm working on it. I'm getting it. I'm ironing it out. I got this.
I said I'll give you.
Yeah, please.
Coming around.
Longer arms than I do. Ellie.
Good guess last week. You should know. She's like your house. You're right. I get to make something. I can't. Do you ever call her by the dog's name though? Keely.
Wait, what's the dog's name?
How you doing? How's it going?
Everyone get Erev Shabbos. Good Erev Shabbos. So first of all, tremendous yeshvach to everyone for coming out to Erev Shabbos. I want to give a very special thank you to Rabbi Tzvi. Tzvi Friedman again, I texted him this morning. I said, Tzvi, we need something special for Toameha. And amazing, the guy's got briskets and pastrami's coming out of everywhere. Baruch Hashem, and he just pulls them out. And they're beautiful and they're wonderful. Rabbi Tzvi, thank you so very much. And of course, it's a great schus to have Rabbi Goldberger here with us for Toameha. We're here for Kabbalah Shabbos, and it's a schus to have Rabbi Goldberger to share with us a few words. So, Chaver, please give the Rav your attention.
Thank you, Rabbi Silber. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here coming into Shabbos with my dear friend, Rabbi Silber, and the Kehillah HaKadosha, and joined by one of my wonderful sons, Malkiel. That's his real name, guys, Malkiel. Two of my granddaughters, and so many chaverim going to Shabbos with. And Ashreichem, that you have such an outstanding Rav at your helm, who does so much not only for this beautiful Beis HaKnesses, but also for the entire community. And I'm even going to push that to Klal Yisrael, because Rabbi Silber has really made and continues to make such a hashpa'ah tova of Torah and avoda. And Ashreichem and Ashreinu, that we have such a special person amongst us. One of the ideas that the Chachamim say in respect to when should Purim be in Adar Rishon or in Adar Sheni, they talk about this and they conclude that it should be in Adar Sheni because it should be the Adar Hasamuch LeNisan, the Adar that's right next to Nisan. Why? To be Samech Geula Li Geula, to lead from one redemption to another. So we go from the Geula of Purim to the Geula of Pesach. And we start to see the idea that Geula is never really final until we have the Geula Shlema, the Meir B'Yameinu. Up until that point, it's one Geula after another after another. So the concept of things happening in stages, and that there's a process to our growth as Yidden, is very central to Yiddishkeit. I think there's even a remez to it at the beginning of this week's parsha, Tazria, Isha Kis Azria V'Yolda Zachor. So first you have Tazria and then V'Yolda, that the conception leads to birth. And then of course birth leads to life, and life to a productive life. So that's a process. And there's always a goal in front of us. There is an idea regarding the Daled Lashana Shel Geula, which is very similar to this. And the Torah says, V'otzeisi, V'hitzalti, V'govalti, V'lokachti. Each one of the Daled Lashonos. The Daled Kosos at the seder are connected the Daled Lashonos Shel Geula. But what are they? The Sforno writes, and you have to see different views amongst the Meforshim, what each stage is. I'm going to go with this Sforno. And he says that V'hotzeisi means that the shibud stopped. V'hotzeisi eschem mitachas sivlos Mitzrayim, no more shibud. But we're still in Mitzrayim. That's not a full geula. The hitzalti is when we left the gevul of Mitzrayim. So now we're out of Mitzrayim, stage 2. However, our oppressors are still right there. The Egyptians are mamish right behind us, breathing down our necks. Stage 3, the Goalti, is Kriyas Yamsuf. Now at this point, the Sforno says, what happens to Bnei Yisrael at Kriyas Yamsuf? We're no longer Avadim Borchim. We're no longer slaves running away. Why? Because we see the Mitzrayim dead right in front of us. Es Mitzrayim meis al sfas hayam. So imagine that. You have the people who's oppressed for over 200 years, and you're given permission to leave, and you leave, but the people who oppressed you are still right there. You're not free. Who knows what they're going to do? And indeed, Paro comes and tries to chase us down. So that third step of Geula, of Kriyas Yamsuf, we're no longer Avodim Borchim. We're now gone from Mitzrayim. So what's the fourth step? The Lakachti. And on this one, the Meforshim are almost Bepeh Echad Zu Matan Torah. The Lakachti refers to Matan Torah. So this is very different because the first three are about getting away from something. But the fourth step is becoming something. Geula is not complete unless we become something with our freedom. So we say, Ana Hashem Hoshiana, please Hashem save us. But then what's next? Okay, we got away from the bad. Ana Hashem Hatzlichana. Please let us have Hatzlacha so we can get to a point of meaningfulness in our life. It's not sufficient to get away from slavery. We have to become free by becoming a person. So Zumatan Torah, that's the final step of Geula. What we become. So I have this question I want to share with you. It started to kind of rattle around in me today. Here's my question. There's a lot of emphasis on children by the seder. The children ask the Fir Kashas, the Manishtana. There's emphasis on children. And we see that if there's no ben by the table, so who asked the Manishtana? Who shovel les atzma? You ask yourself. If you're at a seder by yourself, there's no children, you ask yourself. My Rebbe Zecher Tzadik Livracha, Rabbi Shlomo Tversky, he said on this that the idea is that there is a child within each of us. And it's that child who we're trying to get through to at the Seder. That sense of curiosity and excitement, and it's brand new and it's innocent. We're trying to peel away all the layers that we place upon ourselves when we are adults to get back to the child inside. So here's my question. When we're at the Seder, are we supposed to be like children in order to become an adult? Or is the goal to become a child? Maybe that's the goal. Just to become like a child. Which one is it? So I'm not sure yet because I've just started to think about this today. It's a brand new question, and I feel very good about brand new questions because maybe I'm onto something for a brand new question. I'm not always zochet to a brand new question. So which one is it? Are we trying to become adult, or through childhood, are we trying to be a child? So I want to tell you a story which I heard from Rabbi Tversky, and the story goes like this. The Jukava Rebbe was a great tzaddik in the 19th century, and he was once sitting around a table probably very similar to this, with many Hasidim, and he was saying Divrei Torah, and there was singing, and he looked up and he said to the Hasidim, someone bring the l'chaim, bring a l'chaim for the tish, for the table. And the Hasidim kind of go back and forth a little bit, who's going to get it, who's going to actually get out of the chair and get it. And Lamaisa, they're arguing and talking, and they start singing again, and nobody goes to get the l'chaim. So they're closing their eyes, and they're singing, open up their eyes, and what happens a couple of minutes later?
Never happens here.
Never happens. Many people would run here. So they open up their eyes, and the Rebbe himself is coming in with the bottle of schnapps for l'chaim. So they're mortified. Mortified. They said, Rebbe, any one of us would have gone to get the l'chaim. We're so sorry. So he said, let me tell you something. You know who I sent to get the l'chaim? I sent my little boy. I said, Rebbe, what do you mean? We saw the Rebbe himself coming in with the l'chaim. So he said, no. When I became bar mitzvah, I made an agreement with myself that I would never let the little boy inside of me go. So I sent my boy to get the l'chaim. Sent my boy. So is the boy the goal? Or is the boy the means to the goal? I think it's both. They say there was a certain Makubal who learned all the Kavanos in Tefillah, and at the very end, he decided he would daven like a tinok, like a child. He learned all the Kavanos of the Arizal and all the deep things in Tefillah, but then his conclusion was to daven like a child. So for him that was a goal. The tamimus, the purity, the innocence of being a child. At the same time, we're trying to be deep people, trying to have a relationship with our Kadosh Baruch Hu which has some real depth to it, not just what we learned when we were children, but what applies to us as adults. So what I think, at least right now, is that it's a means and it's also a goal. It's a means of becoming a bigger person because we have to have that curiosity in order to become something bigger. We have to have questions. It's also a goal because when we hit those certain times in life, when we feel jaded or cynical, the goal is to be like a child. Well, none of those things mattered. None of those things got in the way. So we're going into Rosh Chodesh, going into Chodesh Nisan, the month of Geula, Geula Shlema, going into the month of Pesach, Nisim. How do we see Geula? I recently saw in the Divrei Chaim, the Sons of Erev, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, that he says one of the questions they ask us in Shemayim when we get there is Tzipisa Yeshua. Did you look forward to redemption? And Divrei Chaim says that doesn't mean only did we look forward to the ultimate redemption, the Geula Shlema. It means every time we were in a situation in life where we mitzapel Yeshua, in that particular situation, small or big, there's always the Yeshua on the horizon. Always the Yeshua on the horizon. So now this is what we're going into. We want the Geula Shlema. We want the coming of Mashiach, B'ezras Hashem. But there's a process of getting there. And the process is to get ourselves into the mode of migaula, ligaula, ligaula, ligaula. And all that takes to emerge from our struggles and to become a redeemed person for that moment before we move on to the next, geula. My tefillah for all of us is that we be able to really go from geula to geula. And to be the kind of people that are mitzapim liyeshua, the real Yeshua, the ultimate Yeshua, and the little Yeshuas in our life. Never to give up hope from Yeshua. And to know that the Geula Shlema is hidden inside of all the smaller Geulos that lead to that. There's a little nakuda, a little remez of the final Geula in each and every small Geula. May we all be zocha b'ezras Hashem to the geulos katanos and ultimately to the geulos gedolos. Amen. Amen.
I don't know if it really matters anymore. Do you know what to do? All I see is
Good Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos.
Someone has to tell Moshe to break down. Moshe's live streaming Shabbos.